Good evening. This is All Sports with LD coming back at you with another YouTube post from a YouTube channel. Before I get into tonight's content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Okay, so let's get into it. Whatever happened to Meldrick Taylor? As you can see here from the information, Meldrick Taylor was a two-weight world champion, having held the IBF junior welterweight title from 1988 to 1990 and the WBA welterweight title from 1991 to 1992. I distinctly remember watching his pro career coming out of the 1984 Olympics and watching him on up to his fight with Julio Cesar Chavez. Leading up to that fight, he was 24-0-1. And this fight, I believe, really changed the trajectory of his career. This fight took a lot out of Meldrick Taylor. As you can see, he finished with a record of 38 wins, 8 losses. He won 20 by knockout, 18 by decision, lost 4 by knockout, lost 4 by decision, and he had 1 draw. So like I was saying, leading up to this Julio Cesar Chavez fight, he was 24-0-1. And I recall watching the fight and seeing how Meldrick Taylor was ahead on all the cards. But like I said, this fight took a lot out of him. And he would, in my opinion, he would not be the same fighter. Going into the 12th round at the Hilton Hotel in Las Vegas, he had a busted lip and a fractured eye. He had lost nearly 2 pints of blood. Later, he would spend the night in the hospital receiving blood transfusions. Still, Meldrick Taylor was 2 scorecards up. My mistake, I said he was up on all cards. Shows here he was up 2 cards. 108 to 1-on-1 and 107 to 102. He landed nearly 450 punches. There was surely no way he could lose, except there was. The rest is history, even if it's history that won't quite rest. With 2 seconds to go, and Taylor, staggering like a drunk in a dark corner, woozy, swollen, knocked down, but back up on his feet. Referee Richard Steele stopped the fight. Now, I remember that stoppage. And like everyone, I thought it was a premature stoppage. Literally 2 seconds left in the 12th round. And Richard Steele stops the fight, and the victory is awarded to Julio Cesar Chavez. So not only did this fight take a physical toll on Meldrick Taylor, this was also an emotional, psychological toll on him. The fact that he was winning the fight with just 2 seconds left, he's dropped. He goes to the canvas, he gets right back out, and he's counted out. It was unbelievable. I remember seeing that fight, and I was stunned. I was like, no way. This cannot be. And unfortunately, he had to deal with that loss. He had to continue fighting, which he did. And with the other fights after the Julio Cesar Chavez fight, so as you see here, he wins 5 straight after the loss to Chavez. It's a 10-round decision against Ramos, 12-round decision against Davis, where he wins the WBA welterweight title, split decision against Garcia. Wins in a TKO in round six. Ernie Chavez, a decision against Glenwood Brown. So those were the five wins. And I do remember watching those fights. They were not very impressive wins. Nonetheless, they are wins. Then we come to Terry Terrible Norris. Meldrick Taylor gets dispatched in 4 rounds. It was brutal. I remember that fight. I was like, yo, it was brutal. Then he follows that up with a back-to-back loss, with a loss. Uh, Crisanto Espana dispatched in 8 rounds. Then he goes on a win streak of um, three wins, and then back to the rematch with Julio Cesar Chavez, where he's taken out in 8 rounds. So, oh, and I forget to add the Espana fight. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that last name. I apologize if I'm butchering it, but he loses his WBA title, welterweight title in that fight. But getting back to the Julio Cesar Chavez fight, he gets dispatched in 8 rounds. And so from this point, it just pretty much goes downhill. I mean, he wins back to back twice, loses, wins, loses back to back, wins three, loses again. Final fight 2002. Now, in my opinion, I think this is a Hall of Fame career because, again, he was a 2 time champion. So I think that merits a Hall of Fame career. But unfortunately, like many boxers, he stayed too long because that first fight with Julio Cesar Chavez were brutal. It took a lot out of him, and he just wasn't the same sharp fighter. Even though he went on to win a second title, but like I said, they weren't very impressive wins, and you could see that there was something different about him as a fighter. Then he loses to Terry Norris and so on and so forth. So, like I said, I believe, in my opinion, it's a Hall of Fame career. Now, as I search the internet to see if I can find anything on Meldrick Taylor, to kind of see how he's doing, I wind up finding this particular article. Former boxing icon Meldrick Taylor charged with aggravated assault. This was June 4th, 2019. And as you can see, obviously a much older Meldrick Taylor. Meldrick Taylor, the Philadelphia native and boxing prodigy who won 2 boxing championships and an Olympic gold medal, has been charged with aggravated assault, possession of an instrument of crime, and terroristic threats in an incident Monday night that seemed to be a landlord tenant dispute in his North Philadelphia row house. Some neighbors on Tuesday did not seem aware that the former boxer in the 2-story red brick row house between another house and a vacant lot on the 2700 block of West Lehigh Avenue was once a hero in Philadelphia's storied boxing scene. Hours earlier, around 11 p.m. Monday, Taylor tried to evict a 26-year-old man who lived in Taylor's home, demanding that he vacate by the following morning. When the tenant protested, police said Taylor threatened him with a revolver. Someone called 911, and the former 2 time world champ was arrested after a 90-minute standoff. He was released Tuesday on an unsecured bond. Now, I don't know whether or not he served time behind that, but as you can see, life kind of spiraled out of control for him. And it's really sad when you think about what he was to the boxing world, and oftentimes boxers, once their careers are over, they do have a hard time adjusting to regular life and not hearing their names chanted anymore, not being recognized on the street, not being praised for their virtuoso performances. So he, among other boxers in the past, present, and future, will most likely have the same sort of troubles. Fame and money is a powerful aphrodisiac, and it's very difficult to just change your life after the chanting is gone, after all the money is gone. It's difficult to adjust. So just wanted to pull this up, talk about it for a minute. So for now, that's all I have. Have a good one.